Hey everyone, Jesse with Hunt Training. Today I'm taking some time to finally talk about what's going on in Virginia and other things going on in our country with gun laws right now. Hey guys, Jesse with Hunt Training. I'm back at you with another video, but this one's a little different lately. I haven't done a political video in a while, but we're going to kind of get into it a little bit here, talk about Virginia and some other things that are going on in other states, and then kind of compare it to what our founding fathers thought. Just basically a kind of a thought video. There's going to be some deeper stuff in here to pay attention to. But before we get started, please, if you'd like to, go over to the first link in the description. It'll take you to a separate page or some products there you can buy and help support what I do here, and I'd really appreciate it if you did that. If you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. If you are a subscriber already, thank you very much. I really appreciate you guys and what you have helped me build here in this channel, slowly building and getting better every day, hopefully. If you do that, go ahead, like, comment. I like to talk back and forth with you guys in the comments. Share this video and even hit that notification bell so you make sure that you will get the notifications when I post a new video, because just being a subscriber does not do that. Anyway, guys, if you have been living under a rock and you don't know anything about Virginia, there's been a lot of anti-gun stuff going on there, and we're going to take some time to talk about it. First, let's get started with a brief summary of how I understand what went down. A very small area in Virginia, like a very small area, with a Democrat majority and a large population, voted new governor in, and he comes in and says, hey, we're going to ban assault weapons, we're going to do a whole bunch of other stuff, right? Basically, most of Virginia gives them a finger and says, no, we are not going to do that. We will not enforce those unconstitutional laws. And they form Second Amendment sanctuary cities, municipalities, and counties. Like over 100 different areas are now Second Amendment sanctuaries in Virginia. The governor comes back and says sheriffs who do not do this will lose their job. Who do not enforce the laws will lose their job. Sheriffs then actively form military units in their counties to protect the Second Amendment. And then the governor says, hey, I'm going to send the National Guard in and force you to enforce these laws. And the sheriffs are like, no, blah, blah, blah. And the governor's like, yeah, I'm going to put you in jail if you don't do it. And then finally, the last nail in the coffin lately, the last thing that, as I understand, is going on as of whatever the date is, the 28th of December, 29th of December, 28th of December, is that he increased, the governor of Virginia increased the corrections budget in the state in anticipation for a high number of jailed people from gun crimes that he created. So it's kind of unfortunate too, because Virginia is kind of the founding of our country. Anyway, we all understand all gun laws are unconstitutional. I am of the mind that all gun laws are unconstitutional. Unfortunately, in the modern times, I understand that there is going to be some restrictions. I'm not for them. I don't agree with them, but there's going to be some things that are restricted, because that's just the way the government is. We understand that government is necessary evil. Lately, it's been a little too evil, not a whole lot of necessary. And like I said, Virginia's kind of the founding of our country, and it's unfortunate. But if I look here, Thomas Jefferson, I prefer dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery. If he forces them to turn in their guns, he's literally turning them into helpless slaves. If you don't want to believe me, look at any socialist dictatorship style of government in the past. They take the arms away slowly, under the avenue of that way we can better protect you, and then basically turns them into a slave. Hitler did it to the Austrians in World War II. It's a perfect example. It's like, hey, first he came in, it's like, hey, I need you to bring your guns down to the police station. Register them with me so we know who has what guns and if it's a bad guy's gun, and we can keep track of them. And then he's like, for the safety of the people, hey, I need you to come turn these guns in. And, the people followed the laws and did what they were supposed to. And then he actively stuck Jewish people into concentration camps and killed them. So that's where that led to. And other things like that can lead to that. One thing I find interesting, Thomas Jefferson, in the first draft of the Virginia Constitution, the state constitution, said, no free man ever shall be disbarred the use of arms. That's like absolutely opposite of what the governor is trying to do. Like, our biggest fight in the 2A community generally is an emotional one. So Democrats always get their laws passed to be an emotional reaction to something going on, whatever it is. Most gun laws that are passed that are anti-gun are due to an emotional reaction of some sort. Understandable. Emotion is a very powerful tool that often, as we, the pro-gun side, don't use enough to get what we need to get across. We stick more to the facts. So, like, I saw a news article today. It said there's 41 mass shootings in the United States this year. And then you do a little more research. It killed 211 people. 41 mass shootings killed 211 people, according to this news source, fake news, left-leaning source. Let's get that across. And I commented on, it was on Facebook, I commented on there, hey, I was like, hey, thank you for passing a narrative about gun violence and how, mass shootings are so bad, because 41 mass shootings that killed 211 people is terrible, which it is, and you make it seem like it's a big deal when really those numbers are minuscule in gun crime overall. Mostly gang violence related to gun deaths. Back to Virginia. Virginia actively trying to disarm its citizens to keep them away. And what are they doing? They're basically making lawful citizens felons overnight. And that comes back to the point that lawful citizens don't commit crime. And they won't commit crime. Thomas Jefferson himself actually said something along this. And I'm going to read it to you. Stick with me here. The laws that forbid the carrying of arms are laws of such nature. They disarm only those who neither are inclined nor determined to commit crimes. Such laws make things worse for the assaulted and better for the assailants. So basically, these laws only affect people that are not going to commit crime or have no wish to commit crime, and it only makes it worse for the people who are being the victim, being taken advantage of by the assailants. It doesn't do anything. They serve rather to encourage than prevent homicides. So literally, they're not armed anymore. We can go kill them at will. Chicago, literally. Perfect example. Toughest gun laws in the country. They literally have thousands of homicides in the last few years. It's actually terrible. For an unarmed man to be attacked with greater confidence than an armed man. So basically saying you have more confidence attacking somebody that's unarmed than you do if they're armed. Obvious, makes sense. It's interesting. But a funny thing to watch, and I know this video is different, the funny thing to watch is that we see what's going on in Virginia, but there's other things going on in other states too, and this kind of gets to another point I want to make about national organizations and how they're kind of ineffective. But you look at what's going on in Georgia right now. So SB or HB, one of the House or the Senate bills, 281 or 261, whatever it is, flat out ban of assault rifles, tournament, no grandfather clause, all that into one bill, right? We don't hear much about that because there's other stuff. I believe there's something going on in Kentucky as well. Like I said, I'm not from that part of the country or even that half of the country, so I really don't know what's going on over there totally. And the media is obviously going to be silent about it because it's going for a narrative they want, so they're not going to spread the news about it. What it comes down to is it's unfortunate that we've gotten to the point that actively disarming lawful citizens is the cure for every gun problem that they have. And unfortunately, because most people live in a city, they usually are more left-leaning just because of what goes on there. Usually more left-leaning, trying to make policies for the number of people in the rest of the rural-ish community, right? Well, and like you said, I look at Virginia and it's 2 counties, 2 little areas versus the entire state. If you look at landmass, it's no question they would not ban guns. They are going to beat your ass. It's total bullshit. Do not come to our house. We will beat you. Stuff like that. And then you look at the other side of it. It's these 2 little counties with a large population. People are like, we don't have guns. Help us. You got to stop the gun crime. Take the guns away. Please protect us. Take the guns away. And they don't realize that literally the people that are going to come and attack you have already broken a law, that a gun law is not going to stop them from doing anything about it. I don't know. It's frustrating. I'm sorry this turned into like a freaking 10-minute plus rant about just dumb stuff. George Mason writes, to disarm the people is the most effective way to enslave them. Basically, effectual way to enslave them. Same thing. The easiest way to enslave somebody. Just frustrating. Very frustrating that we've gotten to this point. My final point about national organizations. National organizations do not work well at fighting the local level, because if you look at it, like, put my thing down and focus, because the states can kind of give the finger to the federal government in a lot of cases, including gun things. I was fortunate enough to grow up in probably, I would say, the friendliest state to guns, no matter what polls they say. I grew up in probably the friendliest state, and continue to get more friendly right now. Kind of less because there's a California move there. There's a California exodus, and people are moving to Idaho, and unfortunately they're bringing their stinking politics with them. And same thing for Nevada. They bring their politics in Utah. They're bringing their politics in Montana. Those states that are, freaking America to the bone are getting kind of influenced by California now, and it sucks, but it's not been terrible to that point yet. But when we look at things, the national organizations, whether you like them or not, the NRA, the GOA, Firearms Coalition Policy, can only do so much because they are a national organization. Where we as gun owners need to be focused more is our local policies and our local groups that work on things. And probably not even the groups. Like Lucas Bodkin at T-Rex Arms says, you are the best fighter for the Second Amendment. You cannot pay somebody to fight for you. You have to stand up, and you have to demand. And you have to get like-minded people to also stand up and demand. You have to do the work yourself. You cannot rely on somebody else that you pay to get it done. Now, I'm a huge fan of the GOA. I think the GOA is doing awesome things because they are no compromise, and I am a member of the GOA, and I do donate to them. And I think for a national organization, if you're going to donate to one, the GOA or the Firearms Coalition or Policy Coalition or FPC, those two I totally agree with, and I would be a part of, and I have no problem with that. But that's not going to stop me from trying to influence you people here on YouTube, or influence people in my local area in the Western United States or anywhere I go, training people, talking about guns, informing, educating, taking new people to the range. It's something I really want to focus on, and just teaching people that it's not as it seems. It's made out by mainstream blah 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 whatever to be this terrible thing that in the end it's really not. It's just overblown and out of proportion, and that the only way to stop criminals is to shoot them in the face. And there's people that need to be shot in the face, and there's people that need to be shot and put in the ground, and that's just the way it is. Ain't no other way around it. There's shitty people. I don't want to do it. I don't dream about doing it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to boogaloo. Anybody that wants to boogaloo is an idiot. You should never want to boogaloo. We understand the government sucks, right? We should go against them, and I totally 100% believe that if there was a civil war, the people with all the guns, the pro-gun crowd, would totally kick the ass of anything that anybody else could throw at us. Totally agree with that, and I don't disagree with that. I don't have any problem with that thought, but it is dumb to think that we should go against them, because it's going to cause a loss of life, and we don't need that. As a gun owner, we should all individually take the time to stand up and fight for our rights and what we believe in and what we want as a future. And in my mind, I need to do more fighting, because the gun laws keep getting worse instead of better, and less, and we should get to the point where we're less and less regulated, because the Constitution's already been stepped on by basically making, the ATF lately. Also, I guess I need to talk about the ATF also. The ATF's been on a rip in the last 2 weeks, saying that 2 guns that were legal now are not legal to own. you have to send them in or you have to destroy them. And even more of the stuff like that with the ATF that's gone on, and with these alphabet agencies that do not have any power to legislate, to create laws, are just changing the way they see things and then making them legal. Trump did that. He ordered them to do that. That is totally wrong. I agree with Trump on a lot of things, but this is not one of them. The gun thing, he's totally failed us, and financially, I think he's totally failed us too, as in the national debt. But these things keep rolling over, and the government keeps taking more and more control, and eventually it'll get to the point where it's not even recognizable as a constitutional republic anymore, and it's basically just kind of a free country, but not really, but maybe sort of a little bit. But you can do this, but wait, we got to get our tax money from that. So it goes both ways, and unfortunately it's gone a little bit the one way of the governments for a long time, for way too long, and I think it's time that we should stand up. So national organization is not really the best. The ATF's been on a rip. Virginia is terrible. I hope it doesn't come to anything, shots being fired, but that is a big test of what's going to come in 2020. Those people in that area, if you're going to be in that area, prepare, be ready for certain things to happen. Be prepared for all things, but also be ready, find some articulate people that can articulate your point correctly to the legislature, and totally try to communicate and compromise with them to get to a solution that doesn't end with the loss of life of people, or people losing their livelihoods because they're thrown in jail. Because he raised the corrections budget to throw more people in jail that would not be unlawful citizens unless he did it himself, which he just did. Anyway, guys, thanks if you stayed for the whole video, which I doubt anybody did. If you did, awesome, thank you. This is just kind of a long rant, kind of me throwing it out there, talking about literally the exact things that's going on in the exact state that our founding fathers spent a lot of time in, and then they're saying, you can't do this, it's not right, you will end America, and they were literally actively doing it in Virginia. I just would like to take the time to sit down with some people like that who are against it, to maybe have a conversation, because I think the governor of Virginia is too far gone. I think you're gonna probably have to cut off the head of the snake there and just get rid of him, demand him to be recalled, because I don't think there's any way he's listening. He's obviously bound and determined to take away the guns of lawful citizens, and that's terrible. Anyway, guys, I think I'm done ranting now. Like I said, you are your best advocate. Get out there and advocate. Nobody's going to do it for you. Virginia, terrible. Be prepared. Get some training. Save your lives, because there's bad guys in the world and you shot in the face. And get out there and just try to be good people and all those things. Anyway, guys, Jesse with Hunt Training. We'll see you next time.